Debbie starts now.
Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher and you. You are the key person because this is where we take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us. We try to learn, we try to grow and get a little bit closer to God in this very brief hour we get to spend with one another each and every weekday. And we introduce topics and then you guys take it away with your life experiences and you're the catechists and you help us learn and grow. And so with that, I'll turn it over to my co-host, Jerry Usher, to announce the topic. Jerry, are you giving me the silent treatment?
Debbie.
Jerry.
Yeah, we're going to talk today about, have you ever been given the silent treatment by anybody? And that could be it can be an excruciating experience, especially if it's someone you're really close to, a spouse, a child, maybe a parent, maybe a brother or a sister, coworker. We want to talk about that today, and you can join the conversation if you've had that experience ever in your life, and most of us have. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. Let's start getting those phone lines filled up for another great Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you.
Now, I know you were just silent for about 5 seconds, but my heart started pounding. And I was like, no, you can't be silent, not on radio. I could just imagine what it feels like to get the silent treatment at home or at work or with your friends. It's very painful. In fact, I was talking to a dear friend this morning in preparation for the show, and she was sharing with me how a friend of hers, after she just spoke very, honestly to this childhood friend that she's known for a long time, and then the friend couldn't accept it, and the term was like, she said she ghosted me. I disappeared. I was gone. I was not part of her life for a long time until she I guess was ready to enter back into the relationship. But that's painful because it leaves that person with all these unanswered questions. What did I do? Could I have done something different? It's torturous. It's cruel. It really is disrespectful. As you can tell, and I'm going to say this speaking as a true Italian, we don't like the silent treatment, okay? The silent treatments do not work in our household.
Yeah, well, you're right. They are painful. They're cruel. But again, it's something that most of us have been through. And with the advances of technology, the silent treatment used to be pretty much just verbal, whether somebody wouldn't talk to you or want to see you at all. But now it could be done via, Facebook, Twitter. You could try and be in touch with somebody and you just never hear back from them for a long time. Mm-hmm. So let us hear your experience about this, and not just to hear the experience of that, but how you maybe reconcile with that person, how you resolve the problem. That's what we want to come to on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, is how we work these things out. So here's the number. Get on board early, 833-288-EWTN.
I always chuckle because Jerry and we love the movie What About Bob? Okay, it's just a hilarious movie. And in one of the scenes, there was, he was experiencing some kind of what he felt was a different kind of treatment in his issues that he was having in life. And he said something to the effect, Jerry, help me out with this. Is this some kind of radical therapy? And that was the
therapy,
line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the line in the movie. And I think about that sometimes when I hear about people who give, each other the silent treatment. I'm thinking, is this some kind of radical therapy? I don't think it's therapeutic at all. I think it's very painful. It's destructive because it doesn't help in building the communication and the trust and and upholding the dignity of all parties. I don't, unless I'm wrong. Tell me, maybe there's I take that back. Maybe sometimes there may be a need to take a time out and to be silent for a little bit, just so you can regroup and you can respond rather than react in maybe, some hurtful words. I understand that. But I'm talking about, have you ever had a friend or a family member that they didn't talk to you for days or weeks? What did that feel like?
Or months or years.
Or months or years, yeah. Please call in and share with us. We need to hear about this. We want to know and we want to learn. 833-288-3986. And you can maintain, their privacy and everything, but if you don't want to give your first name, give your confirmation name. It's a beautiful way to honor your confirmation saint.
Yeah, and I would say anyone who is married or has been married, you probably have experienced for at least a short period of time the silent treatment. But how is that resolved? How is that reconciled for you? Did that make you love your spouse even more going forward? And if it wasn't your spouse, maybe it was a friend or a sibling. Did you have even a deeper love for one another and maybe a true resolve never to let something like that happen again, realizing that these relationships are so very important to us? So we're talking about the silent treatment today, and that basically means just simply someone, you reach out to them and they just aren't there, or maybe it's even in your own home or on the job. Debbie, I can't imagine a worse place to get the silent treatment than at home, of course, because you got to be in the same house with somebody. But the workplace, would be equally difficult to handle as well.
Well, especially if it's your supervisor, especially if they start giving you the silent treatment, then you start thinking, am I going to get a pink slip? Am I going to be let go? It's a horrible way to work. Can you talk about that and share that with us if that's happened to you? 833-288-3986. You do not have to be Catholic to call in, but please, we need to hear your voice. And we heard from Lisa, one of our wonderful listeners. Lisa, thank you so much. You sent us a YouTube video of a recent homily by Father Billy Costco from St. Henry's Catholic Church in Buckeye, Arizona. I know him very well. I worked with him for a few years in Gilbert, Arizona. But we posted the homily. I posted it on my personal Facebook page. So if you want to send a friend request, Debbie Georgiani, or go to Jerry and Debbie Facebook page and like us there. I posted it. This is a phenomenal homily. He is an amazing homilist. He is incredible. And I watched it once, and after the show, I'm going to watch it again. So we posted it there. So like us on Jerry and Debbie Facebook page. He talks all about what's happening right now in the world.
Yeah, thanks be to God, we're seeing a lot more priests and bishops really coming up with, just really solid homilies, convictions. They are preaching with conviction, and that is absolutely fantastic. So we need to pray, of course, to uphold all of those who lead us, our deacons, our priests, our bishops, cardinals, Pope Francis. All of them need our prayers each and every day. And today we are talking about being given the silent treatment. Has that happened to you? Come on, I'll bet it has. Don't give us the silent treatment today. 833-288-3986. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio.
Hello, I'm Kristalina Everett, host of Women Made New. Each week, we sit down with our guests to discuss a range of issues confronting us as Catholic women in today's ever-changing society. Together, we can grow in our relationships with God and each other. You are not alone, and let's heal our brokenness together, where women help women get closer to God. On Women Made New, Saturdays at noon Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Bringing hope and clarity to the issues impacting your life in 2021, EWTN's National Catholic Register provides award-winning journalism from the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and the world that goes beyond secular news. We bring truth and light to topics like religious liberty, the sanctity of human life, health, and all things related to the Catholic faith that affect you and your family's future. And we do it with faithful and courageous reporting that reflects the teachings of the Church. There's never been a more important time than right now to join Catholics who depend on the Register to stay informed. To take advantage of our special offer to get 6 free issues, visit ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. That's ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. The National Catholic Register. Read faithfully.
Your ability to inspire and uplift and edify and inform and educate others is just a phone call away every day on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. 833-288-3986. We're talking today about if you've ever been given the silent treatment, or maybe if you want to out yourself and say, you know what, I've done that to somebody before. I'm sorry that I did that. Here's how that went down. Here's how it was worked out. So it kind of goes in either direction, but this is just an open, honest, what do we call it? Raw conversations that we have on this program, and you can be a part of it. Again, at 833-288-3986. Want to, before we go to the phones, want to let you know about EWTN 2021 free family calendar. You can stay inspired in your faith all year long by getting your free copy of this exclusive family calendar from EWTN. It has got striking photographs taken by Joan Rome, who is an EWTN's Rome Bureau correspondent in the Vatican Insider, and provides hidden gems of information about the basilicas for each month. And the calendar, of course, includes holy days of obligation, selected feast days, and days of abstinence. And to paraphrase Mother Angelica, this is an awesome holy reminder. So get your free EWTN family calendar and be inspired on your spiritual journey all year long with reminders that God is with you every step of the way. Just visit EWTN.com/calendar. Again, it's absolutely free. Get yours today.
Fantastic. Okay, we have some open phone lines. Please don't give us the silent treatment today. We want you to talk about an episode that you had experiencing the silent treatment, or maybe you gave somebody the silent treatment. We want to hear about that as well. But here's the number to call in. You'll get straight in and speak to Ryan. He's wonderful. 833-288-3986. That's the number to call. And you can social media, YouTube and Facebook, we're waving to you. Thanks, guys, for watching. You can comment there. Jeff Burson happily picks all the comments up and gets them to us. You can text us. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. You can also email us, take2@ewtn.com. And Jerry, you have an example for us before we get to the phone. So that'll be good. That might set the
Yeah, it was very difficult. In high school, I had two buddies. We were kind of like just the Three Musketeers, almost inseparable. We played all the same sports together, clubs, classes, all of that. And several years after graduation, you kind of drift away in terms of the regular correspondence, but I stayed in touch with one of them, and actually he at one point he needed a place to live. So he became a roommate of mine, and I think my brother John lived with us as well. So we had three of us under the one roof, and I don't know why, but he was running up these astronomical phone bills. I mean, $100, $200, $300 a month. And I wanted to try to talk to him about it, but he would stay out of the house all day and come in at night or something. Anyway, he wanted to be out of the house anytime I was in the house. So I ended up having to leave notes for him. We need to talk about this. And it ended up getting resolved, not in the most friendly way, but it's just really, really tough. You live with that every day, day and night. That's on the back of your mind. It's on your heart. You're going, man, this just sucks. How do I get taking care of this and resolve it? So I've had that. That's just one experience I've had of being given the silent treatment.
So that was an extreme avoidance that he was having.
Yeah,
he didn't want
absolutely.
See, Marty and I don't have those issues. As a matter of fact, our very quiet neighbor across the street, this is a true story. This is a true story. We were just having a discussion, and the neighbor across the street was outside washing his car, and he came over and he says, "Everything okay?" We said, "Yeah, this is the way we talk to each other all the time." It was so embarrassing. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. He's very quiet. He's just very, very reserved. So I guess he couldn't. I probably have my radio voice. And Marty has a very, he can have a strong voice as well. So I guess it sounded very loud. Anyway, too funny. Okay, let's go to Juan in Houston, Texas. Guadalupe Radio Network is the way you're listening. Hi, Juan. Welcome.
Howdy.
Hi.
Hi, Juan.
Glad to be on the radio. I'm glad to talk to you guys. This is not the first time that I've talked to y'all. My wife and I, that we were together since high school, so we've been together for 30 plus years. Been married by the Catholic Church. We're separated at the time. She has filed for divorce. I didn't ask for it. Didn't want to divorce her because Um, you know, I truly believe in our vows. Um, Somehow or another, my daughter has turned on me. On my birthday back in December, she didn't even call me, nor did my wife. Just my son. Um, she had me removed from the house. I think she's been seeing someone else since, for a while now. I spoke to her pastor because she was born Catholic and was raised Catholic and all. And now all of a sudden she started going to a non-denominational church, which I visited with her. I had visited, with her. I spoke to my priest. Had several people praying for us that this issue can be worked out. And up until now, we used to talk every day, and she refuses to talk to me. So does my daughter. My son sometimes, takes an act of Congress for me to even have him text me back or talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just need lots of prayers and all,
Right. Right. Juan, I remember when you had called, that was a couple months back, correct? You called us because we've been praying for you and your family. So she actually went through and filed for divorce. So now it's official?
Yes, it's official. I had to go get an attorney, which costed me money. Spent Christmas just, with
right.
my son came over, my sister, and my brother, but still wasn't the same, without my better half.
Well, Juan, this is, and we can hear the pain in your voice and coming from your heart. We hear it, and it is painful. And it's divorce is especially, when you're trying to fight hard to hold on to the marriage and the family, and then it happens like this, and then the fallout, and then what happens with the children, whether they're young or whether they're grown, and they start to change. It's devastating, and it's so painful. I've talked to other parents, Juan, that they said they'd rather cut off their arm than feel that kind of pain, because it's just, you can't stop it. But I want to say something just real quickly. You said you consulted your parish priest, and that's wonderful. Please consider continuing, to meet with him, and also, find some other resources. You live in a big city. Houston, Texas is huge. Okay, you can find probably other places that you can get some help, and to make sure that you are emotionally taken care of through this, because it sounds like, for whatever reason, your wife, the reason why she is cutting you off and avoiding all sorts of contact is because she's trying to justify where she's at. And when you do that, she's trying to make herself feel better, and in the process, she's making everybody around her feel worse. Okay, and so it's so important for you to do the necessary things you need to do to get well and to stay well emotionally and psychologically. And I would recommend writing all this down, writing all the feelings you feel down, maybe write some letters to your wife and your kids. Don't mail them, but just write it down, because the emotion is very raw right now. And instead of you trying to forget it or compartmentalize, to get that on paper can really help. Okay. I know, because I've been there. So those are just my few words. And we'll continue to pray for you and your family. Our hearts just break because we can hear the pain that you're going through. Jerry?
Well, actually, it's funny you talked about people would rather cut their arm off than go through something like that, because the image that came to my mind was, Juan, you've been involved in kind of a tug of war. There's a tug of war that goes on between husbands and wives during situations like that. And it just seems to me, at least metaphorically, if they can't win the tug of war, they will chop your hands off so that they get the rope and your hands, and then you're just kind of left behind. But I think, her conscience, every one of us has a conscience, Juan. You know that. And her conscience appears to be, it sounds like, is really quite troubling her right now because of her avoidance, kind of dodging you at every turn. So, in a sense, that's a good thing. If she still realizes in her mind, in her conscience, that what she's doing is not godly, it's not right to you, it's not right to your family, then perhaps God's light can shine into her mind, into her heart, and still bring about a turnaround. You talked about needing prayers for you. We are absolutely going to pray for you, and also for your wife and your kids, and for the reunification of your whole family.
I appreciate that. I'm supposed to stay away from the house. Can't go nowhere near it, even though I had a big part of it to do. It's been rebuilding it and what have you. So it's like every morning on my way to work, I pass by there, just look to see that they're all there, and I just throw them a blessing. Even whenever I pass by her job, if I see her vehicle out there, I even, throw her a blessing as well, Every night I pray, I still pray for her, and of course my kids and all, that they're always taken care of,
Right.
That's the only thing. I don't think I'm doing bad by doing something like that,
Absolutely not. No, you're doing something very, very beautiful, Juan, actually, and praying for them and being concerned for their well-being. And so continue to do that, Juan. As we said, we've got not only me and Debbie and the show team, but the Take Two family around the world. When they hear a prayer intention like this or any prayer intention, they are on it right away. So we've got a worldwide group of Take Two family members praying for you, Juan.
And just one other thing I just want to say, Juan, sometimes when you're going through something like this, you feel all alone, okay? There's tons of support out there. Please reach out. You're doing it with your parish priests. Continue to do it. Not just one lifeline, have like 5 and 6. And then ask the angels and the saints to surround you and your family. Okay, you need an army around you to help you through this. Okay, you're in a lot of pain, and it's very raw, and we can hear it. And so we need you to get real strong for yourself, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Keep us posted. Will you stay in touch? We're going to be praying. We're going to try not to worry because Padre Pio says, pray, hope, and don't worry, because worry is useless and God is merciful and hears your prayers. So we know that, but we're going to be praying, so you got to keep us posted, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Juan. And you can do that not just by phone on the program, but by email at take2@ewtn.com. Lots of prayers go with you, Juan. Thanks for the call. Angel is next in Perrysburg, Ohio, listening on Annunciation Radio. Hi, Angel. You're up next now on Take Two. How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you both.
Likewise.
Hi, Angel. I love your name.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm Italian, too. I'm half Italian and half British.
Oh,
so
nice.
My mother's family's from southern Italy, and Rome,
That's my husband. My husband's part English and part half Italian, so you share that in common with him. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah. We could have good sense of humor. Yeah, we were good at that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually in a situation where I was married very young in the Catholic Church. I was 16, and I was studying to be a doctor at an early age, and my husband was in the military, so I thought we were going to have a very close relationship. But I think he had somehow taken on a problem after the military and would often pull back and not talk. But we had been married about 22 or 23 years when he just decided not to talk to me, and it was like 5 years. He never said a word, not a sentence. And it was beyond anything that I can possibly describe in the initial phases. The first year, it was just absolutely unbearable. Second year was unbearable. And I really was emotionally falling apart. But then, my faith and my sharing with my parish priest gave me strength. And finally, I just made a decision and told him that he just had to leave. It was over, But it was literally 5 years. And I can tell you, he only asked one time, where are my keys? And he was shouting it. And that was the only sentence he ever said to me, except for when I asked him to leave. And he said, I was never mad at you. But, of course, he was. He was mad at the world. So I had to find ways to cope, and I did. I did. I started a whole new life, started a whole new career, got completely out of the marriage, and just started traveling to Europe and working and fulfilling my life, And it was initially very destructive, definitely horrifying.
Sure.
Absolutely horrifying.
Well, Angel, hang on. We're going to have a short little break here in a second, and then we can certainly discuss with you this situation. Very, very sorry that this happened to you, and that's a long, long time. And you were very, very strong in remaining in that marriage for as long as you did. And so we will come back in a minute because since he went away and served in the military and probably saw some very horrible things, and there might have been, it's a big pool to jump into to talk about things like that, but maybe there was some residual of that going on. We don't know, but we'll be right back here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're going to stay with our conversation with Angel in Ohio.
Apple TV allows you to instantly stream EWTN to your TV. Get EWTN today. All you need is a high-speed internet connection, a TV, and the Apple TV player.
The power of prayer simply means that words have an effect. For example, when a couple says, I do, it literally changes two people to becoming one in marriage. When you say, I love you, it changes us and it gives us value. The power of prayer is in the words and in the sentiment, but it's also in the fact that God, who is omnipotent, all-powerful, answers our prayers.
Father Benedict Rochelle.
Brothers and sisters, we got to tell the truth in this country. For heaven's sakes, I wouldn't want to go to a synagogue and find that they were having a Muslim service. I wouldn't want to go to a mosque and run into a Baptist service. I don't want to go to a Baptist church and find out that they're having Mass. We've got to be honest to ourselves. We've got to be what we are. I'd rather a good old-fashioned, honest agnostic than a phony Christian any day of the week. There are reluctant agnostics. There are atheists who are searching for God, and they may find him. But somebody who says they're doing something in the name of God, in the name of Christ, and God and Christ have nothing to do with it, is violating this commandment. I am the Lord your God. You shall not take my name in vain.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. Later today on Catholic Answers Live, a couple of great guests. Mark Brumley, Carlo Broussard. Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
This is your show. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And it takes way more than Jerry and Debbie to make this show happen. It takes our producer, Michael Birchfield. Jeff Burson gets your social media comments over to us on YouTube and Facebook, and Ryan Penny screens calls, and a number of other great folks at EWTN jump in when there's a need and fill a hole there. And we're talking today with Angel. We're talking about being given the silent treatment. Angel in Perrysburg, Ohio, listening on Annunciation Radio. And Angel, I'd be curious to know what was did your husband exhibit any of this before you got married? I presume you got married before he was deployed, or how did that?
He was in the military. He was in the military when I married him, and he was set to go to war right after the wedding, and so of course it was a marvelous time the first couple 3 or 4 weeks that we were together, and then after that, being in 5th Army Infantry really changes you. So, but at the time, nobody talked about post-traumatic stress or anything like that, and what happens to men in their minds. And I didn't even understand it myself. He was a very accomplished individual, one of the top marksmen in the world at the time. He was an Olympic marksman, and putting up with that silence and realizing that there was something very dangerous behind it. It wasn't just silence. It was an absolute anger that was very scary. And
He had his own war going on in his own head. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially with me, because I was the only person he could take it out on. Mm-hmm. That I think he felt that he was safe with, that I could be a storefront, but I couldn't be a storefront any longer. I was like, this is too much for me. The isolation was absolutely unbearable because nobody would have believed me if I had told them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you're in solitary confinement. Yeah, I just want to. Yeah, Jerry and I were just chatting on the break, and I said to Jerry, I said, you're like my hero. I wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. I don't know how you lasted 5 years. No, I really mean that, because I think personally the silent treatment for that length of a time. Now, sometimes it's needed, like I said at the beginning of the show, like it's needed for a quick timeout, or to de-escalate a situation or something of that nature. And I know we have some other calls coming up about just exactly that. But this, to me, was torturous, and I'm so I'm so happy for you that you consulted a priest and so that you can, that you could stay you stayed faithful through all this then.
Oh, absolutely. Mass every day, confession once a week. That was the thing that really helped me.
Beautiful.
Just having that strength behind me of that peace and that solid feeling of the Catholic faith, really helped me a lot, and it still does. And I look back at that now with I don't have any bad feelings about it or anything. It was, and I know the story behind it, which is very entailed, but I just let go and let God. You can't control people, and you can't control how they feel.
Right.
But sometimes you have to take measures to protect yourself and your mental health and your physical health, and you need to get on with your life.
Yeah, because I'm sure it was
quite a while to give up.
Right, and I'm sure it was slowly killing you. It was slowly killing you. But real quickly, Angel, because I know Jerry has a comment. We're getting comments coming in, text messaging. Couple things. They want to know: did you have children with this man? And how is he doing now?
He just passed away last year, suddenly. But we had 4 children. I had 4 children in 5 years. It was a Catholic marriage. We got married. I was married at 16. He was 21. And he was in the military and about to go off to war, so they gave us permission to get married. I know it sounds very strange, but the priest had his doubts about it. And but I had known him for many years as a child, from like 9 years old on. He was in the neighborhood. He was a neighborhood kid. And he was just very solid and sweet and kind. And but then when he started getting around guns night and day and working in the military and doing his job as a soldier, I didn't realize that was what was changing him. I had no idea that would change him. Now we talk about it, but then we didn't talk about it. So,
right. Well, and I just want to say real quickly, I mean, I do not in any way, shape, or form promote divorce or anything. I think divorce is very, it's terrible. It hurts the kids. It hurts everything, because I went through it. It's horrible. However, in your situation, tell me if you would agree with this, Jerry. In Angel's situation, I mean, there was a definite danger there. And the church is very clear about, you've got to separate yourself from that to protect you and the family. If there is that type of danger or abuse or anything like that, there is that healthy separation that needs to happen. So, and I think in your case, just given what you said and what you shared, Angel, I mean, I think it would have to be just really hard to coexist in the home together with that kind of treatment. What do you think, Jerry?
Not being a canon lawyer, it still sounds like to me it rises to the occasion of a legitimate separation and divorce, just because of the circumstances and potential danger that might have been there. So, Angel, thank you for the call. We appreciate that. Our lines are stacked here, so we're going to get to as many people as we can today, talking about being given the silent treatment. But amazing call, Angel. You have our prayers, your family, and of course we're going to pray for the soul of your ex-husband as well in a very special way. 833-288-3986, talking about the silent treatment. Annette is next in North Dakota, listening on the EWTN app. And Annette, I'm just curious, sometimes we do this, you got to help me with the pronunciation of your city, your town there.
Karlsruhe.
Karlsruhe, okay. Beautiful. Well, Annette, thanks for calling. How can we help you?
Well, I was one of those people who use silent treatment to de-escalate and to was almost a survival mechanism because I grew up in a very verbally abusive family, so it just escalated into name calling, and so I didn't talk to my mother for 5 years, and it was about healing and the, what do you call that, the bringing down of a person. So when you grow spiritually, you can take more, and so as a person grows, you can understand it's not directly towards you, but the silent treatment became, for me, a survival. So.
Right. Well, I just want, can I share something real quickly about that? Because Jerry and I do a lot of life coaching, Annette, and what, it sounds like what in your situation, you had to protect yourself. You had to set those boundaries of, what you will enter into, what encounters you will enter into with your family members, and which you need to step back and to protect yourself. And you're right. And then in that sense, that was necessary for you, because if you had interacted, right, it could have gone south and really been at a point where it was detrimental, with character assassination and all sorts of things happening and not upholding the dignity of the other person. I'm just curious though, Annette, you said you made the comment that you hadn't talked to your mom for 5 years, and it was a necessary thing for you obviously to do to protect yourself. Did she know why you weren't talking to her for 5 years?
When I reconciled with her, I think there was 11 kids, and of the 11, 5 had attempted suicide. So, and it was about self, it's the verbal, and the German culture is much like that. They try to make you strong, try to whatever, and you don't compliment your kids, but it kind of dominoed, and it worked on their self-esteem. So if they failed, everything was their fault. You follow what I'm saying? So part of the separation when I went back was accepting that her culture she grew up with, because I'm Catholic, and that she probably was raised the same way. And as time went on, I could look past the actual words. The berating and then, they if somebody lied, they try to push the lie, this is truth. And so in order to survive, you just shut down and walked away, Mm-hmm. But you learned later on that this was not healthy either, but that I think people use it to survive in one stage of their life or another. It's not a good thing for a power play. I got that. But there is the other end of the coin.
Sure. Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Well, and the Bible speaks very clearly on the power of words, and what they can do. They can breathe life, they can bring life, and they can destroy, they can kill. And I think sometimes in families there are those habits, and not very good habits in place, where there's a lot of degrading of the person, not upholding their dignity in arguments or even fights, and it's really unfortunate, because that level of abuse, it stays with you. It stays with you because we interact through words, right? We interact, we work, we go out there into the world, and so it stays with us. It's an added baggage that it's very hard to shake off. I can relate, Annette, to some degree, and it's tough. Jerry?
I can't add anything to that either, except just to agree with everything that you said. And, thank God, Annette, that you had, I think, the wherewithal, the sense of what you needed to do at the time. And you mentioned, I think I heard you mention you have reconciled with your mother, so that's beautiful. And maybe that is the right thing to do sometimes, is just to, take a step back and maybe evaluate things. And if you need to kind of put a certain relationship on the shelf or something for at least a little while, I guess it maybe can be a good thing. So what do you think, Annette? Any last thoughts you wanted to share?
That is all true. That both my parents, they struggled with, and they divorced after 30 years of marriage, and so there's always conflict with the siblings so this has been healing for so many of them, getting in touch with their faith and learning to forgive. That has been the faith walk. But part of that is, I think a lot of people just survive through the silent treatment, and they walk away because they don't want to engage with the volatility of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it always escalates.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And there's the
Especially
constant tension.
alcoholic families.
Yeah. Did you ever
Yes.
grow up with that constant tension? I can't even begin to tell you how every time I even say the word tension, I go right back to that place. It was a constant tension in the household. I never liked that at all. Right?
No, and my dad was an alcoholic, so there was always there was stress all the time. So
Yep.
So
yeah, it's tough. It's tough growing up like that. Go ahead.
Yes, and I think part of that is that silent treatment is not good for a power play, but sometimes it's good just to survive or to recalibrate, especially if we're weak or we don't know how to manage. You know what I'm saying? Because words cause a lot of conflict.
No, we understand totally. Jerry, did you grow up with tension and stress in the household, or no?
That's an understatement.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
there was plenty of that. Yeah. And you're right, too, Debbie. Once the word is off your tongue or words, you can't take them back. Okay. You're never any taking them back. And that's why I'm glad you pointed out, Debbie, what the Bible says about the power of the tongue. You know, it could be so healing and life-giving, but it can also be, very destructive as well. Annette, bless your heart. Thank you for listening in North Dakota and for calling the program from Carlsruhe, North Dakota. We hope that we will hear from you again. Talking about getting or giving the silent treatment, Nancy is next in Albany, New York, listening on the Station of the Cross, of course. Hi, Mary. Welcome.
I think Nancy in Dallas. It's
Nancy.
Nancy in Dallas.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Nancy. What did
Nancy, hold on, Mary in Albany.
Yeah,
going to
sorry
Dallas
about that,
first.
Nancy. Yeah. Hi, Nancy.
That's okay. I'd rather be in Texas than in New York.
Yeah.
You don't want snow right now, Nancy?
Oh, no. They're expecting snow here, but our idea of snow is like a fourth of an inch.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about two examples of the silent treatment, and I agree with everything that's been said. It is used as a survival tool. But the first example was my husband's family, and they were a family of 6. And they gave everybody in the family except for 2 that communicated with each other the silent treatment for years. And when you would talk to the 2, they would go back and reiterate everything that happened in their childhood and what the other brother did to them and what the sister said about it. And they relived the past. And that silence went on all their life. And the aunt that we were close to, when she passed away, she left my husband her collection of glassware and china, beautiful collection. And one of the cousins I was in touch with, and I asked her, I said, what happened? Why did they act that way? They gave each other the silent treatment, and they reiterated every little thing and hurt. And she said, well, Nancy, the reason is in your house. And I said, what? And she said, it was all the china and all that. They each wanted that, and they didn't speak to each other because it was never promised to them. And how sad is that?
It is. Very sad, yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. The reason is in your house. And so when I go and look in the china cabinet, I think, good grief. It's only stuff. And the other example includes me. Now, I will confess that I, in the past, have used the silent treatment. I've done it to survive, and I've done it to keep my big mouth shut. But this concerns my husband and I worked together And we had an assistant, and we took her under our wings and just gave her every support. She had had a very sad life and a very challenged family. And we were all three of us very, very close. And she wrote a letter to my husband's boss, the owner of the company, and she betrayed him. And we were so hurt by her actions. She didn't know that we knew that that's what happened. I gave her the silent treatment for about a week. She moved into another department, and then I realized that I couldn't, that wasn't the thing to do because we were going to have to work together. So we started talking, but my husband and I kid you not, for 1 year suffered from the hurt and could not really forgive her. And until one day we went to church, and the priest, who he wasn't very good in the way of sermons, but that morning he talked about forgiveness. And he must have had a really bad experience and a struggle with forgiving. And he told us, he told everybody, and everybody was just silent. There was nothing going on. He told us, he said, people will hurt you, and you have to forgive them for yourself.
Right.
Because the unforgiveness and the hatred will eat you up.
That's right.
Said,
that is. Forgive me for jumping in, Nancy. I'm just looking at the clock here. We want to get to hopefully a few more calls. But one other reason I wanted to interject right now is because you have really, and this priest touched upon the nugget, the nugget of gold that's at the center of all of this. Why do we give one another the silent treatment? Because we've been hurt. We're mad. We won't forgive. We can't forgive. Well, we can always forgive. Sometimes we won't forgive. And that is absolutely the key because, what happens when we forgive, see, it's the devil who wants us to be separated, divided, especially within marriages and families and so forth. He can't stand it when reconciliation happens. So a good reminder, Debbie, from Nancy to all of us in this priest that she's talking about, that we must do what we can to forgive and forget and be reconciled. It's not easy. Sometimes it happens in layers. You have to, in your heart, forgive somebody maybe 100 times before it's really, really back to normal and even better than before. But the attempt is what matters. The attempt has to be made.
You practice forgiveness. You practice it. You have to. It isn't easy. To just go, sometimes you can't just say, I forgive you, and all's good, let's get back to normal. You may have to say it, in your mind and in your heart many times, and then you start to shed some of those, walls that you built because you are in shock. When we get hurt, it shocks us. It doesn't feel right. And so going silent sometimes is a necessary thing, but then coming out of that, I think, is helpful. Because I remember this one therapist telling my husband one time that, when you build walls, it keeps people out, but it also keeps you in. It's a prison for you as well. So, that's very interesting. Nancy, thank you for finding the time to share those, real life examples with all of us. We learned, and that's important. So thank you. God bless you in Dallas, Texas, and Guadalupe Radio Network. You're a first time caller, so no longer, Nancy. You can call back anytime. Jerry, real quickly, I just wanted to highlight Beyond Damascus. It's Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on EWTN Radio. And why do we highlight this particular show? Because young Catholic adults share their stories of life within the Catholic Church and the blessings the faith brings. And we were talking about that. We're going to do more shows this year on young adult Catholics and, what we can do, to help this fine generation so that they can keep their faith. And so Beyond Damascus is a great show. So please have a listen.
Well, I was getting excited there for a minute because you were talking about young adults, and then you said what we can do. And I thought, wow, we're still young adults. Awesome. We're stretching the age limit up to the mid-50s for being young. I feel like a young adult, though.
You act young.
I do. I'm a young soul, right?
You are. That's good, though. I want you to stay that way.
Oh, thanks.
It's the Peter Pan. It's the Peter Pan concept.
Let's go to Philip in Spartansburg, South Carolina, listening on WSEJ 96.7. Hi, Philip. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to listen to you. Basically, why I'm calling is I want to give my wife a wonderful gift for Valentine's Day. This is what happened. 7 years ago, her and her husband came to a parting of the ways. She wanted to go to counsel. She wanted to grow. He blamed her for everything, and she couldn't last in the marriage anymore. She tried everything. And it was at that point where her second son refused to talk to her because he blames her for everything. And the reason he does is because my wife never badmouthed the husband to the children, and never tried to explain anything, didn't want to make them feel what she felt was maybe a biased take on his being a husband. So she kept everything from them. So what happened was they don't understand how she could just leave a guy who there was no problem with.
Right.
Wow.
So they don't talk. One of the sons. Now here's the thing. I know the former husband. We get along pretty good. He says he doesn't even call me the son. And the other brother in California, he has no relationship with him either because I'm in contact with him. So the son just refuses to have anything to do. She sends him Bible verses and tells him she loves him from time to time. And she'll say to him, "Did you receive my message?" And he'll just say, "Yes." And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So at least he's looking at it, but there's no response.
Right. So a couple things, Philip. First of all, as you know, maybe she has expressed this to you, or maybe she's holding a lot of it deep in her heart. She's in extreme pain over this. I know because I've lived it for many years, and I'm part of many groups of parents with estranged children or parental alienation, as some people may term it in other situations. It's very, very painful. But you honoring her as your wife, and what a beautiful mother she is to still keep in contact with her son. That's, she's got to take care of herself, because it chips away at who we are. It emotionally just slowly it cripples us. It's really hard, very, very hard. But there are a lot of groups, especially on social media, there are a lot of groups of parents just like you and your wife and me and my husband, and the support is there. And unfortunately, there's about 10 million of us, and it's growing every day. So it's a very unfortunate situation that's happening, but if we support one another through prayer, talk to our guardian angels, have them talk to our kids' guardian angels, we can hope for, everything to come together again. But we're with you, Philip, and we're going to pray. Jerry?
Absolutely. Thanks, Philip, for the call. We're going to revisit this topic. This was very, very busy on the phones. We got another topic scheduled for tomorrow. But Rita and Mary and Joanne, please, we're not giving you the silent treatment. This music just tells us that we have to make way for Dr. Ray Garendi, so we apologize that we didn't get you on the program. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about, it's the Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes, and we're going to talk about difficulty conceiving children. Have you had difficulty conceiving your own kids? That'll be tomorrow's program right here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Until then, I want to thank the show team, the affiliates. I'm Jerry. She's Debbie. Have a beautiful and blessed day. And during this year of St. Joseph, pray for us.
Dr. Ray Garendi, making your parenting more fit, making your kids have less fits, and making your husband wear clothes that fit. The doctor is in. Next.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, inviting you to join me next time when my guest is Father Edward Looney. 2 books, A Lenten Journey with Mother Mary and Our Lady of Good Health.
The focus, I thought, on the apparitions for